Hey, good Wednesday evening to you, my friends. Good ready Wednesday evening to you, my friend. This is Deep Dive. This is Mike. Like our videos, please share them. Excuse me, leave us a comment. We love the interaction. We want to hear the interaction. Please. I value your input. So leave us a comment. Give us a like if you feel like you like the content. Most importantly, share and leave us a comment, though. Having gotten rid of that, let's talk. One of the things I talk about all the time. Those of you who follow me know I talk about crime. I talk about crime because there's too much of it in our country, Jamaica. Too much of it because we allow this problem to fester, and as a result, we've created this whole cottage industry around crime. This great confluence and amalgamation of all of these little industries that have developed around the criminal industry, criminal industry in our country. This massive expansion of funeral homes, and death has become something to celebrate, bands and all of this. This cannot be something that as a nation we celebrate. We need to celebrate life. This is too macabre. And one of the things I see, I follow social media, and I see Jamaicans talking about dancehall artists like there's something to be celebrated. Murderers, as if there's something to be celebrated because they put a couple of lines together and they make money off of it. It's filthy money. It's dirty money. We never heard Bob Marley singing about killing people. Bob Marley was singing about bringing people together and building lives. Yes, he lashed out against the system that he called Babylon, but Babylon is the wickedness that exists in the world. He wasn't talking about police. Okay? So let's not conflate what Bob Marley and all the other those stalwarts who came first. They were talking about love. You didn't hear them preaching murdering people and this morbid, brain dead thing that they're doing right now, preaching all of this filth that is being fed into the minds of the youngsters, criminalizing and turning them into criminals more than they normally would. Let's stop as Jamaicans. Let's put this shit aside and start being responsible citizens of not just our country, but responsible citizens of the world. Let's stop celebrating these demons, these vermin. Let's stop with it. Anyway, let me take a chill pill. Bro, listen, I am so sick of it. I am so tired of hearing them, especially on social media, celebrating these vermin who kill. And you never hear them talking about the victims. Never hear them talking about the innocent victims. What kind of a nation celebrate criminals? Anyway, you know what? Thank you, JCF. I heard you did some good work this morning. I heard that you all did some great work this morning, and I think it's either 3 or 4 of them went home to be with their maker. Here is teach them.
3 members of the Anju gang were shot and killed during a confrontation with the police in Grangeville, Westmoreland early this morning. The encounter reportedly took place on Mint Road in the Crowder community during a pre-dawn targeted operation by a police team executing a search warrant.
Yeah.
Reports indicate that as the police approached the premises, they came under heavy gunfire from armed men.
Typical.
The officers returned the fire. When the gunfire subsided, 3 men were found with gunshot wounds.
Oh, yeah.
They were pronounced dead at the Savannah-Lamar Hospital. 1 9mm Taurus G2C pistol and 1 Smith & Wesson 9mm pistol with a magazine affixed containing 6 9mm rounds were seized during the operation.
Hold on to teach them. Hold on. So here's the thing. This is every time these monsters raise their weapons, as Commissioner talked about, as Kevin Blake talked about, every time they raise their weapon, they get cut down. So Hindicom could run to the next microphone they can find and talk about how many of these gangsters are being killed. The cops are taking guns off the street. I said we, as sometimes I feel like I'm still in law enforcement down there. But I so appreciate what these cops are doing. Take it to them. Take it to them. JFJ and Indicom can run to the next microphone, go talk about killing. Keep taking the guns off the street, officers.
A 4th suspect managed to escape during the exchange.
Yeah.
He has been identified as a Sandaria Van Horn, otherwise called the Jug Lord,
yeah, man,
and is now on the police's radar. The deceased men have not yet been formally identified, but fine. Investigators believe they are key members of the Ans Posse gang, which has been linked to serious crimes in the area. Police are continuing their investigations.
Those three will not be killing anybody else. They will not be terrorizing anybody else. People say getting rid of them doesn't solve the problem. I tell you one thing. Just like how they say capital punishment doesn't solve murder problem, those will not kill anybody else. All right? It solves the problem that they posed. They won't be terrorizing anybody else. Yeah, they will not be terrorizing anybody else. This nonsense has got to stop, and the support for these demons has got to stop. You know, look, I for the life of me, I have never seen a country that celebrates criminals. I have never seen this before. I've never seen it. How is the country gonna progress, man? How is Jamaica going to progress when we have so many people who celebrate criminality? We have two political parties, basically. That, I mean, the government, when this government is not as bad as the other criminal loving party. But Jesus, I mean, come on. This has got to stop. It has got to stop. It has got to stop. You know, Jamaica police must go hard against the criminal gangs. I've said this repeatedly. As Jamaicans, it is time for us to confront an uncomfortable truth. We need to confront one that we can no longer ignore if we truly want to save our country. That Jamaica is under siege, not by a foreign enemy, not by some natural disasters, but the ruthless criminal gangs that infest our communities, terrorize the people, and hold back our nation's progress. And yet, despite the suffering they cause, too many Jamaicans continue to glorify, protect, and even worship these criminals. I spoke to some on social media just today about idolizing and worshiping criminals. This culture of criminal worship has reached dangerous levels. We see it in the way criminals are hailed as heroes, while their victims are forgotten. We got to stop this. We see it in the way some communities shield known murderers from the police, even as those same criminals destroy the very neighborhoods that protect them. And we see it in the troubling reality that many of our young people now aspire to be like these criminals, viewing violence, scamming, and lawlessness as legitimate paths to power and to success. What message does this send? That crime pays, that a gun in your hand earns more respect than an honest day's work, that criminals are to be feared, while law-abiding citizens must live in silence and fear. This is a sickness in our society. It is a past time for a cure. The police have a duty and a responsibility to go after these gangs with full force, and they must be supported in doing so. There can be no room for compromise, no space for negotiating with these terrorists who prey on innocent people. Criminal gangs are the root of Jamaica's violence. The vast majority of murders in this country are linked to gang activity. Whether it is extortion, contract killing, lottery scamming, or turf wars, the gangs are responsible for the blood that runs through our streets. This is not just random violence. It is an organized system of crime, and it must be dismantled with urgency. A culture of impunity fuels the problem for too long. Criminals have operated without fear. They know that witnesses are too scared to testify. They know that corrupt elements in the system will protect them. And worst of all, they know that many in society see them as celebrities rather than threats. If we do not break this cycle, the next generation will believe that criminality is not only acceptable, but admirable. We may have already reached that point. Both political parties have failed enough, and there's enough blame to be shared across the board. Neither political party has done nearly enough to uproot that crisis. For decades, politicians have played it safe, afraid to alienate their base, are afraid to alienate dons that hold influence. That cowardice has cost us dearly. If we do not demand better, the next government will continue the same weak, ineffective approach while Jamaicans continue to die. And here's a critical issue, man. Respect for law enforcement must be restored. How can we expect police officers to risk their lives when they are met with hostility from the very communities they're trying to protect. Criminals are bold because they do not fear the law. They mock the police. They threaten officers and they threaten their families. They act as if they're above the freaking law. This must not only pursue criminals, they must not only pursue, the police must not only pursue them, but send a clear message that attacking a cop will not be tolerated under any circumstances. Crime is stifling Jamaica's future. Jamaica will never reach its full potential as long as crime holds the country back. Investors are hesitant. Businesses are forced to pay protection money. Families live in constant fear. The children grow up believing that violence is a normal part of life. If we truly love our country, we must be willing to do what is necessary to clean this mess up. The time for half measures is over. There are those who will say, give them a chance. They have rights. Or not all gang members are bad. There are the same weak arguments that have kept Jamaica trapped in a cycle of violence. Let me be clear. Gangs are the enemies of progress, and no country that tolerates criminality will ever be safe. Be that understood. The police must be given full authority to go after these gangs aggressively. Intelligence-driven operations must, like the one this morning, must target the leaders, not just the foot soldiers. Witness protection program must be strengthened. Harsh penalties must be enforced. And the communities that harbor criminals must be made to feel the full consequence of their choice. We're at a crossroads. Either we continue to allow crime to dominate our culture, our country and our culture, or we stand up and say, enough is enough. Jamaicans, it is time to choose. Will we be a nation of law and order, or will we continue to bow down to criminals? The police must go hard against gangs without apology, without hesitation, and with the full support of every law abiding citizen who wants a better country. The police did a terrific job this morning. I salute them and I hope they will continue on this path. This was the deep dive. Thank you and good night.